All right, we're on the third hole here at Dairy Creek. We're playing at about 325. For the really long hitter, might think about pulling driver and really giving it a rip and going for this one. Got a little bit of a left to right swing on the wind. The fairway is going to kind of do the same thing. Got the cart path on the left hand side, which we talked about earlier. You always want to try and aim towards the cart paths at Dairy Creek because everything kind of breaks away from it. On this one, you'll notice I've got an iron in my hand. Not going to try and go with driver. The fairway up there, the way that John Harbaugh designed this golf course, there's an area up there that's about 80 to 70 yards wide out there in the fairway that we're trying to aim towards to give us the best chance. It's the best viewing area. It's flat, it's level. We're not going to be worrying about the downhill slope. As you go past that, the neck of the fairway really narrows down. You're going to be hitting a wedge from a downhill lie, typically from left to right, into a nice kind of triangular shaped putting surface. I like to just kind of lay back. Let's try and make a good swing on our second shot to get us well in range for birdie, as opposed to trying to bite all of it off at one shot at the beginning. So while I'm hitting an iron, anytime you get a chance to put your ball on a peg, you're better off doing that. Your ball contact's gonna be that much better. So I found an old broken tee on the tee box here. We're gonna peg it up on the right hand side. My typical flight shot shape is typically a little bit of a draw, so I'm gonna kind of aim and kind of see the shorter cypress tree over top of the white golf cart sign here in front of us. I'm gonna kind of aim at that. Typically I'll draw it a little bit into the wind so it ends up staying pretty straight. All the hillside's gonna kick me back to the right hand side. Should have put us in a perfect spot out there in the middle of the fairway. So here we go. Caught a little thin, but it's going to work out well. Got the ground, kicked it to the right. Should be about perfect. All right, so we did find the fairway here. I didn't quite hit that one as well as I would have liked to. Hit it a little bit skinny, but we missed it in a good potential spot. So we found the fat part of the fairway. We're left with a putting green that is kind of two putting greens in one. There's a ridge that runs down the middle of that putting green. You got the back side where the ball is going to run away from the middle of that ridge. On the front side, everything's going to sit and roll towards the front left-hand side. So unfortunately, where we're at here, with the distance that we've got, there's not really any good misses. You miss it to the right, we're pitching back up onto that putting surface. If you miss it out to the left-hand side, you've got to navigate your way over that ridge and try and snuggle it down to the hole without hitting it too far where it runs off into the rough. Really, if I was going to miss it from this spot, I'd take one extra club, and your miss is going to end up over the green because it's where the pin is on the front half of that back portion, so it gives you enough green that you can maneuver that. So I'm going to take one extra club. So if I hit it a little bit thin, I should be all right. But if I catch it the way I want to, then it might be just a little bit long. But I think this is going to be the right club. The main thing with any of these things, whatever club you pull out of your bag, know what your distance is, think about how the wind, which right now is blowing from left to right, and think about your elevation change. So this is it's downhill maybe about a half a club. So if this is we're looking at 170 as our actual yardage here, maybe play about that 165 club for me in this position. And just a nice smooth swing. Believe the fact that, hey, I got the right club in my hand. Don't question it. Make sure you've got that in your mindset to begin with. We're going. Let's hit it. One last thought I've got is I got to pick out my directional. So you can see the water cooler about where those golfers are crossing our path right about now. So that's going to kind of be my direction. As this ball gets in its apex, the wind's going to really push it hard back to the right-hand side. So as long as I hit it at that, I don't want to go too much left of that. A little bit right I can get away with, but let's hope and pray. It's a little bit long. We're in the rough back there, but we should have plenty of green to work with. Let's go get up and down. All right, so here we are walking up to the putting green. So this is a really difficult green out here at Dairy Creek. We got, like we talked about that in the fairway, you got this ridge that runs across the middle of this putting surface. Everything's going to predominantly kind of move to the right-hand side. On this front half of the green, it's going to kind of come back towards our feet here. Which brings up one thing about putting greens. So the designers design these things not necessarily to trick you up and make you miss putts and things like that. They're really trying to design these things to try and move water off of the surfaces so the water doesn't stand on the putting green, because it's bad for the turf health. So really what you want to kind of look at here is if you're having problems with any sort of putting green and trying to figure out where the ball is going to go, the ball is going to go the same place that water is going to go when it runs off these putting greens. So you kind of see these low-lying areas off the sides of the greens here. There's actually, behind our camera here, there's actually a drain back here in the middle of the fairway, or the approach. So that's designed to really capture all the majority of the water coming this direction and move it towards the creek over here to the right-hand side. But so you just kind of look at those indicators as far as where is the design as far as where water is supposed to go. So you can really tell from this green, not only from the slope, but just everything's going to kind of move this direction. You've got little pockets to try and let the water get off of the green, out into the rough and down below. So as we walk this way a little bit further, this green kind of has two greens within one. You've got this larger green here on this side, which everything moves towards the front of the green, slopes a little bit to the right. Once you get past this ridge, then you almost have a second little putting green back here, which is kind of a sucker pin. We went after it today knowing that if we missed, we were going to have a hard, difficult spot, which is why I tried to pick a spot as far away from the green, or far away from the flag as we could. So I missed it a little bit long, came up just maybe, if I'd have hit it 2 yards shorter, we would have been perfect. It could have been down here next to the hole. I'm happy with where it's at. We've got a really good lie over there in the rough. Got plenty of green to work with here. We'll talk about how we use the bounce and the sole of these clubs, or sand wedges and things, to really help us get the ball onto the putting surface and rolling like a putt rather than trying to fly it all the way to the hole. So let's kind of work our way back over to the ball. Set my putter and wedge here where it's nice and easy to access, so as I'm walking back to the flag that I don't have to walk very far and waste any time, so ready golf kind of thing. But as you see our lie here, we got a downhill lie. We're in, maybe 1.5 inches of rough, so the likelihood is we're not going to catch this ball really super clean to be able to put a lot of spin on it. We're hitting it downhill. The ball is going to carry down the hill. A lot of grass in between there. It rained over the last couple days, so we can get water in between the ball and the club face, which adds less friction, so makes it to where it's a little bit more not able to spin it as well. So what I've got is I've got my 58-degree sand wedge is what I'm going to hit here. I'm not going to swing it and try and get the ball in the air. I'm actually going to hit down on the ball. By hitting down with these wedges, they're designed to get the ball to go up. Anytime you try and get the ball to go up and you're kind of flipping your wrist, you're either going to skull it, hit it in the forehead and go across the green, or you're going to end up with a really horrible shot that you don't necessarily know how to control it. So really it's kind of opening the face just a little bit. I'm going to swing down through the ball. My goal is to land it right out here. If you see this green spot, I want to try and get the ball to land about right there. That's where I know that the way I'm going to hit this ball, it's going to roll out, and that's about the distance and the direction where we want this ball to end up. You'll try and open the face a little bit more, hit it a little bit higher. You want to carry it a little bit further onto that putting surface, but I'm going to try and hit it not necessarily super high, not really low, but just kind of a nice trajectory on this shot to try and get it up there next to the hole. So let's see if we can snuggle it up there. Everything here, as you look at this hillside, is going to push the ball that direction and over towards the creek. So here we go. I'm going to take a couple practice swings here just to get comfortable with the slope on this hill. You want to make sure that you get your back or your spine angle perpendicular to the hill. You don't want to stand with all your weight back in your right foot. In this particular situation, you want to get your feet or your weight towards your left foot or your forward foot, which would be your right foot if you're left-handed. Let the face open just a little bit. Pick out my spot where I want it to land. Pull the trigger. Bite. All right. Knock it in. Now we're going to mark it. Want to make sure it's not that long of a putt, but we're going to get the dirt off the ball. It's wet out here today, so let's shine it up, make it look pretty before we send it home to its hole. I have a tendency to buy golf balls that are afraid of the dark, so let's hope this one's not. On those short putts, you notice I really put some pace on that one. I don't like to have any kind of a chance of any of this. We've got some poa annua in our area of the country, so we want to try and take any element of that poa being able to throw the ball offline with a really low pace putt. So I like on these shorter ones, anywhere inside of 3 feet, really kind of bang those things in the back of the hole. If you watch tour golf and Tiger Woods, you'll notice for him it's almost like anything inside 5 or 6 feet. He's trying to hit it about 4 or 5 feet past. Those guys are so good that they can deal with hitting it past, but I like trying to just hit it with a good forceful putt, put it in the back of the hole. Helps take a lot of the imperfections out of our golf swing as well as the turf itself.